Today, I'm riding the all-new Santa Cruz V4 Hightower. I don't know much about this bike because I haven't seen any documents on it yet. But what I can tell just by looking at it is it takes a lot of style and design characteristics from the Bronson. Now the V3 Hightower had the glove box storage. This one also has that. It was 145 rear before. I'm gonna think it's 150. This thing's got a 160 fork on it. The rear triangle looks very similar to the Bronson, along with the shock tunnel. You see that the shock is mounted lower, got a lot more space down there. I'm thinking it's probably for clearance of rocks. When they get in there, they tend to wreak havoc. And also just mounting that shock a little bit lower changes the suspension kinematics, as well as just get that weight mounted down low. Overall, on this frame, it's a CC. There's no rear derailleur ports. So you're gonna have to go wireless electronic on this one. I do believe on the C model, they'll have the derailleur cable port. Head tube is looking super sleek and clean. Only 2 holes up there. This build, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be an EXO build. It's got EXO transmission, factory suspension, 101 reserves, and the Maven silver brakes with a 1-up 180. Overall, these Mavens, just on the pavement, have been insane with 180 mil brake rotors. So yes, you're sacrificing some weight with the overall brakes, but you can run a smaller rotor, more clearance, hopefully less weight overall on the bike. I did weigh it because that's about the only thing I could control at home, and it was right around 33 pounds. I'm riding a size large, and these are EXO tires, which I think you add an EXO, maybe a a double down in the rear, and you're right around 34, which is pretty sweet for like an enduro kind of do-it-all bike. This thing does have a flip chip. I'm riding it right now in the low position. It does feel a little bit squatty as I'm just pedaling around, so I'll definitely be popping it into high. Just wanted to get out here today, give you guys a first ride impression. I've had the V1 Hightower in the past. I've ridden a lot on the V2, haven't sat much on the V3, but I'm just gonna assume that this is gonna be the top tier of that category. Overall, Santa Cruz has just been elevating and elevating and elevating and just refining really now. It's just like, how can we make this bike better? How's the customer just going to be more comfortable on it? And really sitting on it, it still feels like a Santa Cruz. Not much has changed there, so we'll see how it rides. Just got through the first pedal up. Overall, I think it pedals really well. You can definitely tell the weight, 33-pound bike just pedals more efficiently, quickly, feels really good. I do have it in low. I think I'm going to toss it in high. I feel like I'm just going to be maybe a little bit more comfortably seated. It also has a 180 dropper, so I'm kind of in between where I should be. Might toss a 210 on there and see. I normally run a 210 and I am a little bit big for the large, so we'll see how that plays out. It's gonna be tough to give this thing a really good test because there's just so many parts on it that I'm unfamiliar with or haven't ridden before. The fork's got the Grip X2 on it. Never spent any time on that. I've got it completely open on the damper right now. It feels super supportive, so I'm really excited to try that out. Maven brakes, they feel like codes, but definitely more powerful, so I think I'll adjust to that quickly. Haven't spent much time at all with SRAM transmission, but shifting really well so far. It's really quiet. So I'm just hoping that this bike is quiet, fun to ride, and kind of a do-it-all. Like, hope it handles like an enduro bike in the chunk, but pedals a little bit more like a trail bike. I think that these kind of trail enduro category bikes are kind of shining right now, especially as I've been on the race circuit. I see how pedally they are, and having a lighter bike, it's a bit more efficient, will definitely save you time. So really interested to see kind of how this thing compares. And it's just cool to get back on a Santa Cruz. They have a certain feel to them, a certain way that they ride. Brakes aren't bedded in yet. That's sketchy. So I'm just gonna have to stay off them. Wow. Nice. Good way to break the good way to bed the brakes in on the trail. You come out of sections like that and have to get on the pedals, this thing just feels like all your energy goes straight forward. Super efficient. Downshift up through here. Nice. Nice. Shut it down, shut it down. Nice. Get high. Word. Super good. Oh. Gosh. Don't lose it. That Max Terra back there is just sliding around. All the way to finish. I feel like I've got the rear pretty close to dialed in terms of pressure, but I think I might have gone too heavy in the fork. Drop a little PSI out. I'm gonna try and run this thing in the high position, because in the past I've preferred it on most of these bikes. And when you stand up and get on the pedals on this bike, it just feels like none of your energy is going down. It's all just going forward, which is sweet. It feels efficient. On the chunky stuff, yeah, maybe you could toss around a little bit, but I think that that's something that you just get used to. You just pick better lines. Right now I've been on an enduro bike, so my line choice is probably questionable. Nice. Oh, way easier. Pedal through there. Nice. Nimble. Oh. Trail's gonna need some love here. A couple months. You! Sick. Oh, you can tell where the trail is. I will say this bike feels like a Santa Cruz, but I'm not sure if I would say that it's a refined version. It definitely feels significantly different. I think the biggest things are going to be the anti-squat values. When you come out of a corner and you want to put the pedals down, this bike just feels extremely efficient. I definitely feel like it still slots into that middle category between Tallboy and Nomad. It's not going to take those big hits as well as the Nomad will, but I definitely think it holds its own. I don't know if I'd change anything in terms of build to make it just a little bit more enduro spec. I think it slots that category pretty good right down the middle, but maybe I would go with a thicker, grippier tire in the rear. Right now it's got an XO Max Terra, maybe XO Plus Max Grip, or even double down just for a little bit. I've added puncture protection. Overall, I think this bike is a sweet update from the previous generation, and it's definitely got some tasteful features. Today I was riding it in the low position, but I definitely want to try it in the high. I like the way they did the cable routing. I like that it seems to be 160 fork. I'm assuming it's got 150 rear. I wonder if you can remove that limiter and add a little bit of travel. Santa Cruz has done that in the past. The SRAM Maven brakes definitely surprised me. Maybe they gave me a little bit more fatigue than I was expecting, but they work extremely well. Almost like a refined code with a little bit less lever pull. XO transmission, I mean, what's not to love, other than it shifts a little bit slow, but held gears well. I like what Santa Cruz did with the chain slap protection. I think the bike is really quiet. It was definitely hard to hear sometimes because of the i9 101 hubs. They just buzz quite a bit, but overall I think the bike was silent. I think Santa Cruz has done well with their refinements, changing the rear triangle, adding the chain slap protection. Some people might argue that the removal of the rear derailleur port is not their style, but it's definitely in line with the way that the bikes are trending these days. And I think they just did a really good job. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, we'll have a lot more information on the bike. If you do have any questions about my ride, drop them down below. Hopefully I'll get to spend a few more days on this bike. If not, one day was enough. Special shout out to Mike's Bikes for letting me on this thing before it released. And thanks for watching.